Welcome, everyone, to the first cross-faculty dialogue session of the 18th ASEF Classroom Network Faculty Collaboration Project on Effective, Inclusive, and Ethical Artificial Intelligence in Education Design. So first of all, to those of you who were here on time, a big thank you, because today's session, we need to be absolutely strict with time, just putting it out there. And as usual, to those of you who are joining us from Europe, a very good morning. And to those of you who are joining us from Asia, a very good afternoon. First of all, since some of you have missed the welcome session, which was an important session for everybody, we will just share some quick takeaways. And then most importantly, we will talk about the book chapter pitching and how it's going to go. And then book chapter final abstract submission. It's important for those who are presenting to note this information. And then we will talk about the sign-up process, and then we will share the overview of book chapter pitch order so that those of you who are presenting can prepare. And then we will have breakout room discussions. We will have 3 rounds of breakout room discussions. So after 4 presentations, we will have 1. Then again, after 4 presentations, then again after 3, because we have 11 presentations today. And then we will close the session by letting you know what to expect next. So with that, first of all, we are really thrilled to have all of you on board. We have a great and brilliant pool of fellows joining this edition with us. And it's 7-month-long program. And we believe that for academics like you, this might be a bit unusual in terms of how you work. And there are 2 types of fellows who are leading book chapter, depending on, of course, your commitment and your interest and a strong expertise. You are either leading or you are contributing. And this project is going to be highly collaborative and peer-to-peer driven, because the success really lies in terms of how all of you, when you were part of a book chapter team, collaborate with each other. And there are, yes, we are aware that it's 7-month long. However, we know how busy academics are. Considering that capacity, we try to create it as flexibly as possible. So there is a lot of room for flexibilities. In this 7-month long project, we only have 7 mandatory official sessions taking place every Thursday between now, so starting from last week till 19th of June. And then 1 official session to close the virtual phase on 18th of September. And then, of course, here we have a mix of experts who are already globally known for their work and already an expert in the field of AI and education. We also have fellows who were learning about the topic and want to learn from expert fellows like some of you. For that reason, we kept the thematic webinars that we designed for our school collaboration participants optional for you to join. So we have sent out an email sharing all the detailed information. So please look for that email. In case you have not received it, please write to me, and then I will forward that to you. And of course, writing a book chapter takes time. Writing producing a brilliant work requires a lot of conversation. So instead of having official sessions, we kept 4 months for you to have independent teamwork. So this teamwork will be led by those who are leading a book chapter, and you can design your own timeline and sessions for having the team meetings. And we want to highlight that your timely commitment, since this is going to be a teamwork and peer-to-peer contribution, is very important. Your timely commitment is absolutely important for the success of your work and for the project as well. Yes, the project might be unusual for some of you who have not worked in a setting like this before, but we are here to support you. Any questions you have, please feel free to reach out to us. We will help you with all the information and any strategy or advice that we have. And again, we want to stress on effective communication. with us as well as with your team member and other fellows, and timely submission of all work. Now, moving on, before we begin, since today we will have very structured breakout room after presentations, if you could rename yourself, it would be super helpful for us and for you as well. First name, space, last name, comma, your country. I will pause here for a minute so that you could do that. All of you can do that. I see that on my screen, everyone has their country after their name. If you haven't done yet, you can still do it as I'm going to go through the next content. So how does it take place, the pitching, right? So the book chapter leads who were presenting today, you have 3 minutes, and you will be very happy to know that actually in our previous edition, our fellows had 90 seconds. So we have at the ASEF Classroom Network projects, the 90 seconds rule for any pitching. So in this page, you must cover the title and theme of the book chapter that you are going to lead, the core questions or issues that you are addressing through the chapter, and why this chapter is relevant to our overall project theme and the theme of the book as well. And if you want to highlight any initial idea for a structure and expectation from co-authors, we understand that this is this is the beginning point and ideas might not be clear. However, having those initial ideas will kick off great team discussion. And then how are the breakout room discussions going to go? So we will have 3 rounds. After 4 presentations, then we will move to breakout rooms. So in each breakout room, there will be a presenter who presented already, and then you will have the opportunity to go to those breakout rooms. So for example, let's say we are having a presentation today by Professor Sangchitan from NIE, and you like his project, then you can click and join his breakout room to ask him more questions. So it really depends on you. So please pay attention when our presenters are pitching, then you can decide which one to join. Of course, you can change your mind later, and you will have a chance to, go through different breakout rooms. So you can do that as well. And the purpose of the breakout room is to really answer questions and also asking questions to the presenter, and then for presenter to respond to those questions as well as get feedback, because you will have to submit the final abstract based on the feedback you received from peers today, or if you want to change it. And I apologize in advance. We will have to be very strict with time. So on the dot at 3 minutes, when you are presenting, I will interrupt you. So again, sincere apologies, but we will have to do that to make sure that we are on time. And this is something important for our book chapter leads who are presenting. So we are having the pitching in 2 rounds. Today is the first round, next Thursday is the second round. For those of you who are presenting today, your deadline to submit the abstract is 28 May, so next Wednesday. And for those of you who will be receiving, who will be presenting next week, your deadline will be 30th of May. And we have not reached out to those fellows yet, and those fellows will be who in the registration form indicated that they are not sure yet, but they might pitch. So we will reach out to you very soon tomorrow. And this is the book chapter pitch and discussion order. So please, if you could take a photo or a screenshot of this, it will be very helpful for you, especially for those who are presenting, and also those who want to join the breakout room and want to know who is presenting in what room. So we have, first of all, Professor. So we went by country order, and only one participant indicated that he wants to present last. So we organized it accordingly. We will start with Professor Dr. Tim Lutz from University College of Teacher Education, Tyrol, Austria. My sincere apologies if I'm pronouncing anything wrong, please correct me later, and or you can just send me a private message, then I will be careful. And then we will have next presentation from China by Mr. Xiangdong Wu from Shenzhen Longgang Institute of Education Sciences. Then we will have Dr. Rasa Tina from Arkada University of Applied Sciences, Finland. Then the next presenter will be Dr. Nguyen Tham from University of Social Sciences and Humanities, Vietnam. So after these 4 presentations, we will then have the first breakout room. And for each breakout room, the first 2, since we have 4 presenters, the breakout room discussion time will be 15 minutes. And these 15 minutes, those who are not presenting can choose and jump in between the breakout rooms. And then for the next 2 rounds of presentations, we have Professor Dr. Jan Pawlowski from Hochschule Ruhr-West. My apologies again if my pronunciation is incorrect, from Germany. And then next we have Dr. Rojita Deshmukh from School of Education and Research, MIT ADT, University India. Then we have Dr. Mark Johnson from University of Manchester, United Kingdom. Then we have Professor Seng-Chi Tan from National Institute of Education, Singapore. Then we will have Professor Francisco Velas from University A Coruña, Spain. And then we will close the pitching with Dr. Shangpeng Shi from Beijing Normal University, China. So hopefully everyone has the order. And just for your note, when we refer to country, it's actually location of your institution. That's how you represent country. So for example, you might be from Luxembourg, but here your country might not be Luxembourg. It's where your institution is based. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can invite our first presenter to have the pitch. So may I please invite Professor Tim Lutz?
Okay. Hi, my name is Tim Lutz. I'm professor at the University College of Teacher Education, Tyrol, Austria. As part of my work and research, I'm involved with augmented reality techniques, creating apps for didactic purposes in a wide range of subject areas and applications of artificial intelligence. I train machine learning models for the field of education and integrate them into my own applications and web services. So I'm pitching a chapter proposal. Input and output specific strategies for the effective use of AI in classroom context. Based on examples from practice and by analyzing existing studies of the contributors, the planned chapter shows which quantitative, qualitative, and theoretical derived potential or already proven empirical advantages of AI technology can be used in education. To accomplish this, the chapter looks in particular at the different input and output options in order to classify approaches. In addition to large language models, for example, for text generation and text classification of student answers, there are many other use cases for other inputs such as image processing, pose estimation, handler landmark detection, speech recognition, speech generation, activity detection, and beyond, all of which I coded applications with in current and recent projects. The chapter aims to compare as many input and output types as possible in order to systemize statements on effectiveness and impact level of artificial intelligence in classroom education. At the same time, the chapter wants to identify fields and input types in which the next steps in the investigation of effectiveness should be initiated from a didactical point of view. Aim of the chapter would then be the compilation and theoretical generalization based on the results from all over the world, which would be arranged in a table-based summary. If possible and feasible, the findings could be mapped multidimensionally interactively, for example as additional layers to this figure. Additionally, this could be visually brought to life as part of research communication using Blender and web technology, for example, Free.js. or my visualization software for nonlinear PDF documents called Bcover, where you can visualize net structures with the chapter PDF. Here an example visualization used in teacher training. On the right you find the current PDF page, on the left the node-based navigation. Back to the title. As a side note, each partial contribution should also briefly reference to the other topics of the program. For example, every empirical, theoretical example of effectiveness of AI models in education raises the question of undesirable bias, which from a theoretical point of view can ultimately also limit effectiveness. Similar side notes are also conceivable in the area of ethics.
You
To
have 10 seconds
summarize,
to wrap up.
yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for your attention.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor Tim Lutz, for kicking off the pitching. I really appreciate it. Please, for those of you, I hope, who are listening to the pitch and interested in joining, you took note. We will have to, it will be a very rush, today we will have very rush presentation. So please make sure that you pay attention. Now we will move on to the second presentation. But before that, my sincere apologies. Dr. Arif Hidayat, I forgot to mention your presentation. So Dr. Arif Hidayat, he is from Universitas Pendidikan, Indonesia. Now we will have a book chapter idea presentation by Mr. Xiangdong Wu from Shenzhen Longgan Institute of Education Sciences from China. Professor Yu, you have 3 minutes.
我们在使用这个
I have
智能
to
体
stop my
进行这个科学教学的时候，进行这个批判性思维教学的时候，学生对苏格拉底式的这种智能体，他的兴趣并不高，因为苏格拉底式的智能体呢，不能给学生这个确切的结论。
So, hi everyone, I'm here to help Mr. Wu to do a little bit translate. So he's from Shenzhen Longgang Institute of Education Science, and he's the science education researcher. And he's talking about the AI agent he designed earlier. It's about helping students study in Socrates' way. So basically, the agent will not tell the answer directly to students. They will lead students to find the answer by themselves. And here, as you can see on the top left, it says the 胡扯的吴老师 means the nonsense Mr. Wu. So, yeah.
你讲到了这个，已经讲到这个胡扯的这个老师了，对吧？那么这样的一个智能体呢，它提供的就是一种教师的反面的角色，就是或者说 AI 它提供了一种反面的那种智能体的角色，因为 AI 一般来说是给的都是正确答案，但这一个呢，你即使说了正确答案，正确的，它也会跟你来一个似是而非的一个东西，显得很幽默啊。学生觉得，哎，你这个 AI 出错了，他就开始对这个 AI 对这个智能体更加感兴趣，愿意跟他讨论。
So there are many students here in China. They always looking answers directly from the AI agent, but with the design of this nonsense Mr. Wu, it will not tell the answers, the right answers to students, and even the students say the right answer, it will reply in an like a way seems to be nonsense, and so to help students assist and to find the final answers more clearly. Yeah.
OK， 这一个例子，是这个智能体专门给他一些那个很搞笑的一些回答，学生也觉得挺好玩，但是呢，它对于这个形成正确的科学概念呢，并没有带来多大的益处。
So this one is not really helpful and time saving for students to find the correct answers, but students love it very much.
You have 10 seconds to wrap up.
Okay, 10 seconds. So I will be quicker. So coming to this one, and this one, there's a little bit improvement, and basically we help students find more answers by themselves. in another way, because there's only 10 seconds. That's all we can say, and we are sorry about the language barrier. And yeah, I think that would be all.
学生用这个智能
忘
替
了时间。
没时间了，
Yeah.
哎呦，说太可惜了。
My
声音没
apologies. Thank you so much, Mr. Wu, and also your translator. My apologies, I didn't catch your name. Hopefully, when you go to the breakout room, then you can answer more questions for those participants who are interested in your book chapter. May I know the name of our interpreter so that everyone is aware as well? I'll then type it in the chat box. Or could you please help me type your name in the chat box?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now for our next book chapter idea presentation, we have Dr. Tina Raisa from Arkada University of Applied Sciences, Finland. Dr. Tina, the floor is yours.
So hello everybody from Finland, and I try to explain the rationale of this chapter. So this chapter would focus on students and two types of epistemic technologies, AI tools and libraries, but also it discusses power and social institutions. I'm sorry I don't have a presentation because I think, listening and then reading is two types of channels. So I decided just to tell you about this. And the working title of the chapter is Libraries and AI Tools, Functions of Old and New Epistemic Technologies, a Student Perspective. And the problem I think we should address is how students perceive various epistemic technologies which they use for their studies, such as libraries and now also AI tools. This is because we don't have too much information about how students actually think about AI and the library in the times of AI. We have noticed that students don't read longer texts, they don't visit the libraries anymore, but they tend to use AI tools. We will adopt Ramon Alvarado's definition of AI as an epistemic technology, a technology that affects us, our capacity as knowers. In our previous research, we have thought about AI as an institution within an institution, and we'd like to continue this work with an empirical study for this chapter. We would adopt a critical approach to AI and also apply theories on social institutions for explaining the function of AI. We will take a bottom-up approach by conducting semi-structured interviews with students in the ASEF community. The research question is, how do students perceive the functions of AI and the functions of libraries for learning purposes? And I think this chapter would be important because it gives us new understanding of students' attitudes, thoughts, and emotions in relation to AI and libraries, and how they make these distinctions when they look for information for their assignments and so forth. This chapter would create understanding of the functions of AI in education, and to think about what is the assumed problems that AI should fix. Social institutions exist in society because they sort of fix certain problems and they perform certain tasks. So what is the task that AI is supposed to perform? And I think this chapter is important because it enables us to think of how AI is challenging the autonomy and robustness of educational institutions. And also we would become aware of the discursive struggle of power in academia that is going on with AI, as it creates confusion about how to organize education when we have AI. And I think this chapter is relevant for all actors within education because it simply gives us time to reflect on the epistemic consequences of AI in education. So this was this. That was that.
That was perfect. Exactly 3 minutes. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Tina Raisa. Now, hopefully all of you took note from her presentation. We will move on to the next presentation by Dr. Nguyen Tham from Vietnam.
So, hello everyone. My name is Tham. I'm from Vietnam, the Faculty of Education, University of Social Sciences and Humanities. And In today's sharing, I'm going to go briefly and quickly to 3 sections. The first one is the introduction to the chapter idea. The second one is the direction to conduct the research as book chapters. And the third one is some potential contribution, I think, of the current research. So move on to the topic of the book chapter ideas. Maybe is the impacts of implementation of AI education on student critical thinking skill, a meta-analysis. And the initial idea gonna be I have to make a very clear operational definition of AI implementation. For example, I can use adaptive learning, Gen AI, chatbot, tutoring system, and predictive analytics. Maybe it take me longer time for me to figure it out, but this is my initial idea for it. And you know that the increasing adoption of AI in classroom raises concern about its effect on student cognitive skill. So the key question that this book chapter want to address is, does AI hinder or enhance student critical thinking? Especially, I want to centralize the focus on Asian and South Asian areas. And those are underexplored current literatures. And the direction that I want to conduct the current study. These are 2 main types that I want to go for. The first one is for the systematic review, and the second path is the meta-analysis. Why I propose the 2 type of path? Because it depends on how many paper, how many research that I can collect to conduct this review. Because if I have enough data, and those data provide me with enough statistical analysis, so I can conduct the meta-analysis to provide a very clear and solid statistical evidence to provide you more information about chapters. Or if I cannot find those solid or statistical data, I can go for systematic review. And the potential contribution of the book chapters might be mapping or conceptualizing the current landscape of AI integration in education, highlighting the effect, both positive or negative, on student critical thinking development. I want to fill in the gap in Asian, South Asian focused educational research. And last but not least, offering a policy recommendation and pedagogical strategies aligned with AI ethnic and learning outcomes. So that's all. Thank you.
Amazing. That was just 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Thank you for saving us some time, Dr. Tam. Now we are going to open the breakout room. So I have already automatically assigned our presenter, but those of you who are not presenting, you can just jump around the breakout room. So allow me to first inform you who is going to be in what breakout room. I have already shared a photo. Let me share again. So in the first breakout room, it's going to be by the order of presentation as well. So in the first breakout room, we have Professor Tim Lutz. And second one, we have Mr. Xiangdong Wu. And the third one, we have Dr. Tina Raisa. And then the fourth one, we have Dr. Nguyen Tam. So please, when you see the breakout room invitation, the book chapter presenters, please immediately join the rooms so that others can join slowly. I'm going to was it enough time for discussion? Were you able to ask questions and clarify, get feedback, etc.? Anyone would like to comment? I saw that some groups were bigger than the other groups, so hopefully those smaller groups had more time. I think time-wise, if you need more time with everyone's permission, we can extend the session, but for that, everyone need to agree. Is that okay if you need more time, or do we stick to original timeline? Nahid, you raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Jyoti, for giving me the opportunity. I mean, about my experience, if the time could be extended, then I can visit the other rooms and explore more. Because within this time, I only actually talked to one presenter, and then I didn't manage to go to other room.
Yes, we anticipated that challenge as well. So what we are going to do, so for now, please try to go to the room that is your first priority. And then if you have any other questions, let us know, and then we will communicate with the book chapter leads via email to get answers for those. So that's one of the ways we can solve this. Looking at the time, we have to move on with the presentations. So for the next rounds, we have first Professor Dr. Jan Pawlowski from Germany.
Hello from Germany, and excuse me that my wrong affiliation is mentioned. I'm still affiliated to a university in Finland, which is still here. Well, allow me to briefly introduce my proposed chapter. I want to go for one of the big challenges, bridging the AI divide. So I guess we all know that there are lots of disparities and issues, especially in countries with a less developed status. And these challenges are well known, I would say. So we can actually look at, the question, how can we ensure equal access and opportunities for all? So of course, these questions, and this is why I brought this chapter up, can only be solved in the global context. So working together on possible solutions. And this is what I would like to do in this chapter. So, the barriers and challenges which constitute this divide, which is just a continuation of the digital divide in a way. So, for example, there are these barriers on the societal level, like lack of infrastructure, which is quite clear, but also different types of regulations, like we have the AI Act in the European Union. And it goes down to the individual level, where we know that the lack of literacy and skills keeps people away from utilizing different types of AI. And of course, there are also lots of fears and threats connected to it. So what I would like to do in the chapter is, of course, there are many different understandings of what this AI divide might be. So I think in terms of classifying the different types of challenges, this is quite a nice starting point. And then I would like to go into a kind of good practice collection. And this is where we, of course, need your help. So this is where I would like to see what are solutions on the different barrier levels, but also how can we define good practices? This is also always a big question. So how do we provide evidence that a solution works? And based on this, I would like to come up also with a kind of roadmap or recommendations on those collaborations in general, but also on very concrete instruments we could work with. So that's basically the idea. And my mail is on the bottom of the page, and I'm looking forward to discussing the big challenges with you. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Professor Pawlowski, and apologies for the institutional information. We will update it. Please, if you could write us an email with the updated institution information.
No, this was just my mistake. I couldn't change the display name. So I'm from Germany, but I used to work in Finland, and I'm still affiliated there. So that's why I'm using this account for accessing Zoom. So.
Thank you, Professor Pawlowski. Now we are moving on to the next presentation by Dr. Ojita Deshmukh from India.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Just give me a moment to share the screen. So the book chapter that I'm proposing is about whose knowledge counts. This is a tentative title that is in my mind right now, and I come from India, and I work at the School of Education and Research at MIT Edity University, Pune, which is near to Bombay. So as we go ahead, this is something that, yes, of course, AI is rapidly expanding, as we can see from this diagram, which is also AI generated. But the knowledge that is getting encoded is found to be very, like, it's more from the northern hemisphere. It's not from the global south. That is the main problem when even we try to use chat GPT, something as simple as that, to generate any particular text, even if it is a hypothetical study or a hypothetical scenario. That is what happens. And also whose learning gets recognized is a problem. So even while trying to generate this particular diagram with all the prompts, which has to show only global south in the shadow, it took me quite some time and quite some things, which also brings out the fact that global south in itself is very difficult to pinpoint, and that is why the inclusion of that may lead to certain biases. And so this chapter will look to unpacking the epistemic injustice that is there in the AIET design, because it's not just a technical bias, but actually it's a question of knowledge representation and inclusion, which is very severely missing. If I talk about India, we have like 22 official languages and innumerable dialects and so many types of diversities. We just cannot see them when we are using generative AI, even for, like I said, even to generate a particular text. So what is it that this chapter is going to be different about? As in I envision it like this, that it would frame the AIED bias through the justice. We will take lots of theoretical frameworks, but right now I'm talking about Fricker. And this chapter would basically be focusing on the gendered, indigenous, and cultural exclusions that happen, and then introduce the pluriversal design for inclusive AI. So the structure that I'm looking at for this particular chapter is where the first we do the introduction, then we take up case vignettes. Because I come from India, I have written India, but yes, it has to be from Global South. And then the ethical design principles, which would lead to all the 3 Ps, that is pluralism, participation, and pedagogy. And we would end the chapter with some policy recommendations and some practice recommendations. So I'm looking out for co-authors who would bring in regional case insights.
10 seconds.
Yeah, who would be feminist decolonial AI and then technical expertise. And that would be the relevance of the book, as in effectiveness, ethics, and inclusivity. And you can reach me out here.
Thank you so much, Ajita. Now we are moving on to the next presentation by Dr. Arif Hidayat from Indonesia.
And then this is another one of the idea for the book chapter. That is, the title is to the teacher-students autonomy dialogues deficits. My personal background is more on the student-teachers relation, and the issue is how the over-reliance on AI can diminish the roles of teachers and students in educational process, really from perspectives that educate means build dialogues. At least there are 3 types of a dialogue: dialogue with teachers and media, dialogue with peers, and dialogue with self. That's the highest one. So with this issue, it will be bring the implication that this may lead to reduce critical thinking. Over-reliance on AI can reduce critical thinking and engagement of the students, but also erosions of trust. Trust students, teachers, and also students to the media, and also less emotional connection, and probably come to the accumulated action to be as dynamic classroom interaction in the classroom setting. So through this title, issue, and the implication, I'm thinking about the considerations topics, the chapters. I put some ideas, but this is still the appropriate one. I mean, the most looking for is the chapter that's finding position AI a supportive tool rather than a replacement for the human educators, and also maybe how is the case study about encourage collaborative decision making between AI system and users, or maybe providing training to educators on integration AI tools, or topics about more in touch of human feedback. This will potentially affecting students' motivation. And another one is how, if possible, there are AI enabler, not only on personalized learning, but also how to design AI to fostering trust, motivation, and engagement. And then maybe balancing AI integration with the preservation of human connection in the classroom. And maybe one of the topic in the chapter is recommendation from any point of view, how to make adopt and find ways to maintain meaningful AI interaction, enhance learning environments. And then last but not least, I think this is very technical, but I think this in classroom context, how AI not lead teachers fear on students cheating due to AI tools, and at the same time, students feel their genuine efforts are not under suspicion. Maybe this is not your genuine effort, and it comes to
10
shape
seconds to wrap up.
strong the teacher-student relation. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank
Over
you.
to you, Jyoti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arif Hidayat. Now we are moving on to the last presentation of this round, Dr. Mark Johnson from University of Manchester.
Hello, everybody. I work for the University of Manchester. I work for the Centre for Occupational and Environmental Health, and people look at that and think, well, why is he interested in education? And to be honest, I would say, well, really, if you don't think that this technology isn't going to make us sick, stick around, because let's see what happens. I think what's happening is we're seeing a massive increase in the complexity of the environment, and it's leaving us all bewildered. And I think we probably, even from the tone of the presentations that we're seeing today, you can get a sense that that's what's happening. The question that I'm really going to address in this chapter is, as part of that complexity, we are finding it increasingly difficult to draw distinctions in education, in the environment of education. What if we can't tell the difference between something that's machine made and something that's human made? That's getting increasingly difficult. What if we can't tell the difference between a brilliant student and a bot? What if we can't tell the difference between truth and lies? That's already become a major issue. What if we can't tell the difference between art and science? Well, that might be a good thing, but it certainly freaks out a lot of people in education. What about even organizational distinctions? Where do you draw the line between management and marketing and teaching? All of those things are going to become blurred, and then perception and reality. It's very interesting. We never talk about perception in education. Yet without perception, there is no learning. You've got to perceive. I got ChatGPT to try and draw a sort of pictorial thing about this, and it didn't do a very good job. But, fundamentally, education has a role in reproducing and transforming society's distinctions. Now, when the environment becomes so ambiguous, how do we do that? That's the question. There's a whole science of perception. I won't go into it because there's not enough time, but these guys I had up on the screen there, Ernst Faber, Gustav Fechner, very, very important 19th century pioneering work in perception. I think really you've got to look at how life deals with ambiguity, and alongside these massive advances in AI are huge advances in biology at the moment. And there's a particular biologist I'll mention in the chapter called Michael Levin, who's doing extraordinary things. This organism here is a single-celled organism, and it gives us a clue as to what we should be doing in education, because that organism is exploring its environment in a very creative and exploratory way. We're going to need more creativity. Creativity is life's way of making sense of ambiguity. As AI renders a world we thought was clear in its distinctions, we're going to need greater creativity to coordinate the making of new distinctions. AI could become deeply integrated in new forms of creativity, but will it happen? Well, I think it's going to be a fight. The medieval institution is going to ramp up its defenses. It's going to say, stop the kids cheating, make sure the learning outcomes, enforce compliance. We're going to see all of that. So how do we negotiate this space? That's what this chapter's about. Oh, just if you want to know what we should be like, look at this bird. That's the end of my presentation. This is a kingfisher. It's spotting its prey. And of course, its environment is moving around, but it's keeping its head still. Isn't that fascinating? Right, that's it.
Amazing. Exactly 3 minutes. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Now I'm going to open the breakout rooms. Some of you are not very sure about how to join the breakout rooms. So just to reiterate, so I have now 4 breakout rooms with each presenter. The first one with Professor Pawlowski, the next one with Dr. Deshmukh, the next one with Dr. Hidayat, and the last one with Dr. Johnson. So those of you who are not presenting, you just have to, when you open in your screen the breakout rooms, you will see an option to join because we allow you to choose which room you want to go to. So if, for example, your preference is the last room by Dr. Johnson, then you just click room 4 and then you will see his name. You will see that he's there already. I'm opening the breakout room and you have apologies. I think we will go over time a little bit today, but I think it will benefit everyone. You have 12 minutes. I'm opening the room now. Hopefully the second round was smoother in terms of joining the breakout room. What we are going to do, we will create a Google Doc with contact details of our presenters today. And also, of course, the Google Doc will be accessible for everyone. So if you have additional questions, you can still post it there. Now we will move on with the presentations. And for the last round, we have 3 presentations. So first, we have Professor Sang-Chi Tan from Singapore. Professor Tan, the floor is yours.
My proposed title is A Cultural Historical Activity Theory Perspective on Contradictions of AI in Education. And we have seen many research on negative impact of ChatGPT or generative AI. But I think beyond this surface results or negative impact, want to know the underlying cause and contradictions. So my key questions will be, what are the tensions of using AI for education related to issues of effectiveness, inclusion, and ethics? We may not explore all of these issues, but maybe 1 or 2 of these issues. And why, more importantly, why do these tensions arise and what are the underlying contradictions? And by contradictions, it's actually looking at ways in which we can correct them, improve them, so that there can be more effective use of AI for education. So this will be based on cultural historical activity theory, which I will not go through in details, but to give you a taste of what it looks like. Many of us know Vygotsky's theory, mediation, and based on Vygotsky's theory, Leontief talk about object and activity extended beyond single learner, but we're looking at the human activities in a social context. If you look at this activity system, basically we look at a teacher working on assignment mediated by a tool, computer resources or textbook, so that they can develop assignment for the students to acquire knowledge. So this is actually the mediation part, subject, object, tools, and they also work with community members. And among them, there'll be rules governing how this work, as well as roles, division of labor, how all these people work together to ensure that this objective is being reached. But I think more importantly, we look at Engelstrom perspective or cultural historical theory that he mentioned about 5 tenets of chat, basically looking at how one activity system relates to another activity systems, historical development over time, multiple voice nature, basically looking at multiple perspectives or different players in the system, transformation of activity systems and collective effort among all. And importantly, analysis of contradictions is actually to drive innovation and change. And Engelstrom talk about 4 different types of contradictions: primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. I will not bore you with the details of this, but to give you examples of what we can do. So if you look at analysis of contradictions, for instance, we often hear about concerns of using Gen AI for learning, like learning loss, increased risk of plagiarism, students not learning, the circumvent efforts of learning. So we can look at this from the perspective of contradictions between the teacher activity systems and student activity systems. Basically, teachers want to design assignment for students to acquire knowledge, but students, some of them want to complete the assignment to fulfill school requirements. So you can see the conflict between the two. So to resolve this kind of activity, conflict or contradictions, basically you need to address issues about motive about learning, motive about teaching. And I look at another paper that's published in Computer Education that looks at how the AI assistant prompts generate students over dependence, but the paper didn't talk about
you have 10 seconds.
Negative effect, but they have not analyzed the underlying contradictions. So this is what I hope to achieve with this chapter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Tan. Now we will move on to the next presentation by Professor Francisco Balas from Spain.
So my proposal is about explainable AI in education. Okay, so explainable AI is mentioned in many different documents, official documents related to the ethics of artificial intelligence. For instance, this one from the European Commission says that for an AI system to be trustworthy, we must be able to understand why it behaved in a certain way and why it provided a given interpretation. Okay, so I suppose that most of you are aware that there is a whole field of research on AI, which is called explainable AI, which is trying to do this. But normally this has been done from a really technical perspective, okay? And we think that from the educational side, the things are not exactly like that. Okay, so explainable AI is a subfield of AI which aims to provide explanations about the reasons why an AI-based system takes a decision. So I insist in this concept of the why the system provides a given output. Okay, so the key dimensions of explainable AI imply two, let's say, different sides. A technical one, which is focused on the transparency, interpretability, and explainability of the AI systems. And this is mainly devoted with the developer, policymaker, practitioners, and so on. And the second side is more human-centered side, is focused on the understandability of such explanations, and is more focused on the end user. Okay, so as we can imagine, the advancing of explainable AI is a shared responsibility. Okay, so teachers, learners, designers, policymakers, all the stakeholders in educations should work together in order to foster and to advance in this so relevant scope. Okay. So, well, I have been working in the past months in a report from the European Commission in this same area of explainable AI in education, okay? And we reached some recommendations and core ideas to start working on. And what I propose here is to expand that initial work. Because I am pretty sure that explainable AI, plays a critical role in aligning AI systems with educational values, legal requirements, and pedagogical goals. Okay, so it is not only a technically system should not only be technically sound, but also they have to include appropriate, legally compliant, and pedagogical effective features. Okay, so this chapter could go around analyzing the impact of explainable AI in education in a cross-cultural manner. Yeah, of course. So I propose here some tentative titles. Of course, we have to discuss about that. And I just would like to highlight that in order to advance in this chapter, I would suggest different profiles. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Velas. Now we will move on to the last presentation for today by Dr. Shengpeng Shi from Beijing Normal University, China.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew Shi, and I'm from BNU Zhuhai. So my proposed chapter would be the AI chatbot for dialogic teaching and learning. So I'm considering to propose a design framework for the pedagogically sound engagement. Actually I think there's a lot of chatbot has already developed for now. I mean, and they have already integrated in the classroom, but for now, I think more like a AI chatbot is like a knowledge provider. That is not even not like a Socrates, I mean, questioning or that other dialogic, I mean, pedagogy or tactics. So that perhaps I would like to, I mean, to use this chapter to develop a design framework that really based on the dialogic pedagogy, that I mean how to co-construction the new knowledge and new meaning, and also how to, I mean, really to based on the pedagogical dialogic theory to I mean to build up this AI chatbot. So that could be the main idea of this chapter. So the core question I will address would be how AI chatbot can be designed to really support the dialogic teaching and learning in a way that is pedagogically meaningful and ethically responsible and inclusively across the different contexts, because as we know that the AI and chatbot is kind of in the global context, and some large language model has already have a lot of data, and also that they can translate in different language. But how to really both suited in the specific context and do as well as to have the global meaning. So that's, and here is the professional structure of my proposed chapter. So that how that design framework would be, come from, that would be, I would like to use the scoping literature review both on the dialogic theory and also that the current design principle for the AI chatbot, and also that to do a systematic or a scoping literature review, and also that perhaps we can conduct some expert interview that from both technician and also that the teacher user of the current chatbot, and also as well as the researcher, so that from different perspective we can conceptualize a kind of design framework that can guide the future real development of AI chatbot. So, and also the key point is that this chapter would bridge the AI design and the dialogic education, dialogic theory, and offer a framework grounded in theory, ethics, and inclusive.
10 seconds to wrap up.
Okay, yeah, and also that to provide some practical guidance for the education practitioner, developer, and researcher, and also that to really to achieve our goal of AI as a dialogic partner, not only the information provider. Thank you. Thank you. That's the end.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shengpeng Shi. Now we are moving on with the last breakout room discussion. So I put in the chat box, we have 3 rooms, since in this round we only have 3 presenters. So the first one, in room 1, we have Professor Sengqi Tan. The next one, we have Professor Francisco Bellas. And the last one, we have Dr. Shengpeng Shi. So I'm going to open the rooms now. Please, you will get a notification, the book chapter leads, immediately join the room, and the rest you can choose which room to join. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had a chance to have some initial conversation with the book chapter leads of your choice. Allow me to share my screen very quickly. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. I see some nodding, so hopefully it's there. A big thank you to our speakers for today who kicked off the pitching practice and also for presenting their book chapter ideas. We have quite a number of interesting ideas, and hopefully some of them will be selected to be book chapter for the ASEFClassNet18 faculty collaboration book. So this is what we are going to do for the book chapter lead who presented today. Please share your final abstract with us by Wednesday, 28 May. And also the presentation slides, if you want to share this with the participants so that they have a better idea of your pitch, please send it to me. You can do it today. That would be great. Or if you need more time, also you can submit together with your abstract on Wednesday, 28 May. And for those of you who are not going to lead but going to sign up to co-author a book chapter, this is something you must note. We will create a Google Doc with a list of all the pitches, and in the side a list of, we are put seats for signing up for each chapter basically. So We will share that on after we collect all the abstract from the second round of pitches as well. So all together, and then you will have until 3rd of June to sign up for a book chapter. And of course, we will review together with our advisors and our partner team at BNU all the book chapter and signups, and then we will announce the book chapter, final book chapters during the 3rd cross-faculty session that will take place on 5th of June. Yes, 5th of June, Thursday. With that, we have an exciting optional webinar planned for next week, Monday. So again, to reiterate, the thematic webinars are mainly for our school collaboration participants, but if you are interested, you are free to join and we will send the Outlook invite. I have already shared an email today where you have the link, the session details, everything in your email. So we will have Professor Mutlu Chukuraba from UCL Knowledge Lab, University College London, UK, and he's also the co-author for UNESCO AI Competency Framework for Teachers. It might be interesting for most of you if you were in, if you want to work in this area. And then our next cross-faculty session, where we will have the round 2 of book chapter pitches, will take place on Thursday, 29 May. So next Thursday. Based on today's experience, we will extend the time by half an hour so that, if you have more questions, then you have the opportunity to ask. And also, it will be unfair to give this opportunity only to the second round teachers. So, of course, if you have questions for the book chapter leads who presented today, you can also ask. With that, thank you so much. We don't have time for Q&A today because we already ran over time, and we really appreciate your flexibility and for staying with us today beyond the time. Have a lovely day in Europe and have a great evening in Asia afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.